Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Ordinary. Today it's a little bit different. Julp is not here because, as you may or may not know, he's on a trip to Hawaii. So I'm joined by a very lovely friend of mine, Shivanshi, and I'll get into our friendship a little bit later on in the episode. But I wanted to bring her on to kind of talk about the exciting leap from Canada to the UK she made to study abroad. We're going to chat about everything from moving away from home to culture shocks, tea obsession levels, and all those British moments that have, happened to her recently. It's going to be a fun one, so let's get into it. Hello, Shivu. Welcome. Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, a little bit of background. Shashi, how long have we known each other? I feel like we talked about this literally last night.
13 years.
13 years. And I literally told her last night, we've known each other for longer than we haven't.
Yeah.
Right? That's crazy.
Insane.
But yeah, Shivanshi and I are essentially like childhood best friends. And we have a great relationship. It's a little odd because because obviously we're going to talk about, her moving abroad.
Yeah.
She studies in London. So I feel like we don't see each other for like long periods of time.
We see each other like once a year.
Once a year.
4 days.
For 4 days, yeah. But it's great. Yeah. It's amazing. But let's kind of start at the beginning. What kind of made you, decide to study abroad in the first place?
So I think it's more of the field I'm going into. Like with law, I think it makes more sense to study in the UK because the process is a little bit faster, and I think you get a lot more experience and there's a lot more like exposure that you can get in the UK. And it was honestly not an easy decision to make, but I guess like the pros outweigh the cons with that.
100%, yeah. And in terms of like when you made this decision, was that in high school, like near the end, I'm assuming, or?
Honestly, I think since I started IB, one of the main reasons I did IB in high school is because I knew I wanted to go abroad. So I didn't know if I wanted to do it for my undergrad or for my master's, but I guess the more into high school I went, I realized that it was what I wanted to do. That's
awesome. And when you, kind of voiced the fact that, this is something you want to do, how did your friends and how did your family kind of react when you told them you were going?
Honestly, I'm really lucky that I got so much support. When I told my mom I wanted to apply to the UK, so I had originally done a year here.
Right.
Because instead of taking a gap year, I thought might as well start a year and see in case, going to London doesn't work out. And when I told my mom I wanted to go to London, she was very supportive and very understanding. And she doesn't really understand like the full picture. So I had to explain to her like why it was good and everything. But she honestly took it really well. And I guess my friends knew that I wanted to go abroad for a really long time and knew that I'm not someone who can stay in one place. So I don't think it came as a shock, but they were also really like, I guess happy for me.
Yeah. I mean, I can attest to that being one of your friends. Like, I feel like because you voiced it since you were very young. Like, like, I'm going to leave Canada and study abroad, right?
Yeah.
Which obviously is sick. And I think when you told me, my biggest thing was like, yay, but then also I was like, bruh, why are you leaving me? But I was very happy. I was really excited.
Yeah,
and I was like, perfect. Now I have someone in London that I can go visit, which I haven't yet, but yeah, don't worry. Okay, now let's kind of fast forward to, you've decided you wanted to move to London.
Yeah.
And kind of talk about the move itself.
Yeah.
What was like the actual moving process like? Did, like any packing fails? I'm assuming it was hella stressful because...
So stressful.
Right?
Like, I don't think I realized how big of a move it is until I had to start packing for it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I guess the longest vacation I've ever packed for is, like, a month.
Right.
And I had to take, like, 2 suitcases, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm going for a month. And then I was like, shit, I'm going for, like, a while.
Yeah.
And I had to pack, like, every single thing I owned into 2 suitcases.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, what is going on? Like, I feel like it's so easy to miss things, and then you go there and you realize that you've left things that are really important to you behind.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of stress when you have to pack up your life at such an early age also from one place to another.
Right.
Yeah. But I did have a lot of packing fails. Yeah. And like, I've broken my suitcases. I've done a lot of things. And the first time I flew to London, my flight got delayed. My flight got canceled. It was just a lot. And I was like, is this a sign? Is it not? But honestly, it was good.
It was good. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I feel like, obviously, I can't speak on moving to a different country, but even when I moved out to like my place in Waterloo and stuff, like, you forget like the small minor things, like even the most mundane thing, like Ziploc bags.
Yeah,
I needed those, and I was like, bro, I forgot to pack those. Or obviously for me, I can easily, even for you, you can just go and buy them and stuff.
Yeah.
But you realize like all these things that I had at home,
I don't have with me.
Yeah, like even like I don't know, like tape or something like that. You're like,
Oh my God. It's like the smallest thing. Like, I opened my cabinet one day and I didn't have scissors, and I was like, I would never not have scissors at home. Like,
exactly. Oh my God, yeah. Or like if you eat a bag of chips and you're like, okay, what do I close it with now?
Oh my God, it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And then kind of tell us about your first few days. You've moved, you're kind of setting in and stuff. I'm assuming, was there things like jet lag, your first impressions of, the UK?
So obviously my mom came to drop me. So she was there for the first 2 days. So it still felt like home a little bit.
Yeah.
But after she left, I mean, I was in a new student accommodation. I was in the middle of the city. I did not know anyone. I didn't even know how the transport worked.
Right.
I was just like in the middle. I was stuck. But honestly, I think the hardest part was for me to like kind of break that ice with myself, to just go out and like explore on my own and make friends.
Yeah.
I didn't really get much jet lag. I think the excitement and nerves together. I had a week before uni started, so I kind of went out and like met a few people that would be going to uni with me.
Right.
But it was such a different environment to be in.
Mm-hmm.
It was really interesting to meet so many people from different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that I would introduce myself to, they would all be from different countries.
That's so cool.
It was such a learning experience.
Yeah. And then I know, like, for example, here with unis and stuff, like the class that you're going to be graduating with eventually in the future, they do like Instagram accounts and stuff. So did you have something like that? Like, is that how you met people?
Yeah. So we had like a freshers Instagram account, and everyone was posting, but because everyone was international, everyone was coming in on different days.
Oh.
So some people came in much before, some people came in. So it was really hard to kind of meet up with people before uni started. And another thing I realized really early on is all of the friends I've made, they're all in business. I'm the only one in law.
Oh.
So for me to make friends in my program, I think that's something I struggled with until the end of first year.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I went to uni, it was more of to like study and focus, and all the friends I made early on were all in business.
On business. Oh.
So yeah, but it was good.
It was good. Yeah. I guess it's a little tough because in like things like social plans and stuff like that, like you guys will have like drastically different schedules and stuff.
Yeah, like even like the smallest thing of like having separate reading weeks.
Oh,
if we want to go somewhere, like if they have it second week of February, I'll have it third week.
Oh,
so even that little difference, you just have to kind of work around it. But I guess when you found friends that are worth working around,
that's good. Yeah, that's nice. And then really wanted to ask this question. What was that moment, or like maybe moments, where it kind of really hit you like, oh, that I just moved across the world and this is my life now?
I think, most people, whenever they ask me this question, they think I'm going to say like, when my mom went back to the airport.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it hit me until, I think it was like 3 weeks into uni.
Yeah.
And all of my friends and I, like a new group, it was like 15 of us. We all went out and we like explored this park and everything. And that walk home alone is when I was like, okay, I'm not walking home. I'm walking to a student accommodation. I met these people like 3 weeks ago. I am in a country that like I have never been in before.
Yeah.
And that like walk, I was just like, what the heck did I do? Like, it was just so shocking. And like, I called my mom and I was like, bro, I miss you. And she's like, you realize that now, like 3 weeks in? And I was like, yeah.
That's so funny. But clearly the fact that you remember that vividly, like that was when it really hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in terms of like the biggest cultural difference between like Canada and the UK, like did you notice any like right away? Like what would you say were the biggest cultural differences?
Honestly, I didn't notice much.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there's a very big like pubbing culture there, so there's a lot of people on the streets
all the time.
Yeah. Like even if you're walking down, like even if I'm walking down the street of like my apartment, like there's like 20 people like outside each place, and I'm just like, bro, it's so crowded. And I guess I'm not used to that because like living in Oakville my whole life, like it was very calm, like you would
suburb life.
You wouldn't see so many people. And then, but that's not really a culture shock, I guess, but it's something that I had to be like, okay, like there's so many people at all times of the day.
Yeah.
Like, but everything else was, I think, pretty much the same. The people are very sweet, the same as they are here. They're very helping. I think everything else is pretty much the same.
Yeah. I think what's good about like the fact that you chose the UK is like English is the primary form of communication, which is really good. Because like imagine going to like, I don't know, like Spain or something, and then you have to pick up a language.
Yeah. I would not be able to.
I would be cooked.
I would just be like, I'm going to stay in my house, order food, I'm done. Thank you. But
just walk around with Translate all the time. Yeah. Okay. And then just more of a fun question, but like, did you pick up, because we talked about this too earlier.
Yes. Oh my God.
Have you picked up any British slang or maybe an accent or habits or something?
Okay. So I don't think so, because like, it's really funny. My friends, like my best friends in London, they're all from like Dubai and India.
Yeah.
So, and one of them is from Belgium. So I spend most of my time with them, like every waking minute. And I haven't really met a lot or like went out with a lot of people that are like from London itself.
Right.
So it's honestly the only time I hear someone speaking in an accent is if I go out or my professors.
Yeah.
So I haven't really picked up on an accent that way. But a lot of people that like meet me now and they know I've been in London, they're like, I can hear it.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you gaslighting me? Because,
for example, literally a minute ago when you said the word obviously, you said obviously.
like, I cannot
I'm
hear
gonna
it.
like when I'm editing this, I'm gonna hear it and I'm gonna be like, hold up.
Like, I can't hear it.
Yeah.
And people, like, if they're actually listening, like, they'll pick up on it.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, okay, no, like, she has an accent.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, cool. Because, like, I mean, I want one. But yeah.
Yeah. I feel like also it's like you're fairly like, you're still like, not like new to the country, but like it's still only been like, what, 2 years?
It's been 2 years, but I think.
Give it another like 5 and then like,
But honestly, I don't want like to fully sound like a Brit. Like
a Brit,
a little bit of the accent is fine, like in some words, like if it comes through, like but I don't want the full thing.
Yeah, that's valid. What about like slang and stuff?
I don't think I've picked up much slang.
Right?
I really don't think I have. And no, I don't think so.
What about habits? Like, do British people do things differently in terms of like, I mean, they drive on the other side of the road, right?
Yeah, that, it took me a second.
So,
like, even though I don't drive there, like, every time I sit in an Uber, I'm like,
whoa.
What, 1 second, bro?
Yeah.
Like, it's just little things like that. Or the fact that, like, here, when you, like, go grocery shopping, the, like, tax is added at the end, right?
Yeah.
But all of the prices in the UK, like, the tax is included. So if something is, like, £2 and you go to checkout, you were only paying, like, £2.
Oh.
And that took me so long to, like, realize, and I was like, that's so weird.
So then you can just like, like your final.
You know exactly what you're. I think it makes sense also when you're a student to budget. It helps a lot with budgeting because you're like, I don't have to like add in any taxes. I don't have to add in everything is there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that kind of stuff, I guess.
Okay. And then what about the uni life itself? Like, how's that over there? And kind of give us like, a bit more detail on like the dorm and then classes and even like nights out and stuff. Like, how's the uni life there?
Honestly, I love it. Yeah. Like, I do not have a single thing I can complain about. I didn't live on res for my 2 years so far. I've lived in private accommodations.
Oh, okay.
So in my first year, I lived at this accommodation called Chapter. It's very nice. Yeah. But honestly, I had, about my mishap that happened first year, like with like my living situation. And like, I ended up getting like bombarded with like the people I was living with. And honestly, it was such a shock to me because I was like, I can't do this. Yeah. But the buildings are nice. And honestly, like, I think I had to realize that like everyone is like doing this for the first time as well. Yeah. So it really helped. And the uni life is beautiful. Our campus is like so it's called Northampton Square. Yeah. So there's like a beautiful like garden and gazebo and all this in the middle, and then all the buildings surround it. And all of our buildings are like literal like olden times buildings.
Oh, I like the
historic vibes. They're so cute.
Yeah. Does it kind of give Hogwarts?
Yeah. And it's really nice. And I think like when I first walked onto campus, I was just like, okay, like this is what like studying here is like. Yeah. And the professors are really nice. The one thing that we discussed that was different is we have to tap in for attendance.
Oh, yeah. You want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, like, you know how you get ID cards? Yeah. So when we got the ID cards, they were like every single class, tutorial, lecture, or whatever it is, or to even get into buildings, you have to tap this card. So obviously for entrance and stuff, I got it. Yeah. But there's literal, like, it's called Count Me In. Right. And there's like readers inside every single classroom. Oh. And you have to tap within the first, like, if, let's say I start a lecture at 9, I have to tap in by 9:15 or I'm absent.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So within that time, I have to go and like tap to make sure I'm there.
Like, that's how you do it.
Yeah. It was so shocking to me because there's so many days that I literally just forgot to tap because I've never had to do that before. Right. Like, even the 1 year I did here, like, you don't have to tap into class. Yeah. But yeah, the uni life is really nice. And obviously the nightlife in London, like, there's nothing that compares. Like, there's so many restaurants. Everything is open late. Yeah. Yeah. There's so much to do.
I love that. And then, like, what about the people in terms of, like, the university students? Like, How do you feel? Like, do you feel like you felt accepted like pretty easily? Because I know you did know a few people before you actually got there and stuff. Are you still friends with those people? Or like, is it more like you say hi when you see them sort of thing?
Honestly, it's really funny. So I have, like me and like 4 other girls, like our group of 5.
Yeah.
We're like very tight knit.
Mm-hmm.
And we were since like the first week of uni, and like touch wood, we've lasted.
Yeah.
But basically, we all knew one girl before we came to London.
Yeah.
Like through the Instagram.
Yeah.
And she made us all meet. And we don't talk to her anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know where she went. I like don't know what she's doing. Obviously, she's still at her uni, but we don't speak to her anymore.
Okay.
So, but that group that we made in the first week, more or less, it's still there. And I think it's really good because everyone is living away from home. Everyone is looking for that sense of like belonging and home.
Community. And
Yeah.
So
I feel like now that we've found it, it's something that we're going to stick to.
Yeah. And then kind of asking a bit more about like your actual program itself and stuff. Like, obviously it's not an easy one. I feel like
so hard.
It's so hard. Yeah. Because I remember when you were before Shivanshi left for her, her journey or whatever.
Yeah.
I was at your house and you were showing me your reading list and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the stuff you have to like you have lots of readings.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? Because you're in a law program. But like, how would you say? Because you did do a one-ish year here.
Yeah.
At like a Canadian uni and stuff. Compare like, I guess your like midterms and exam seasons here versus like your program there. Because obviously it's a tougher one. So there is a little bit of a, like unfair comparison there. But like, how would you say like the hard seasons of school are?
Honestly, I think it's like on the opposite ends of like scale. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
So when I did my 1 year here, I was also working.
Right.
And I felt like I could balance it so easily. Midterms, finals. Like I didn't feel the pressure as much. I mean, obviously the same pressure you feel like, okay, fine, I have an exam, I have to go and write it, I have to study.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like anything overwhelming. My exams now, so they're worth 100% of my grade.
That's crazy.
So midterm, like whatever it is, like they're worth 100% of my grade. So I feel like as soon as like the date comes out, I'm like stressing. I don't go out, I'm reading, I'm doing all this. So I think it's much harder. I guess it's also because of the program I'm in.
Right.
But even my friends that are in like different programs like business and everything, I see them stressed about the same thing.
Yeah.
I think because here it would take me much longer, and in the UK it's kind of fast tracked into 3 years. There is a lot more pressure because they want to make sure that you're able to finish it in 3 years and get the same knowledge you would if you did it over like a 4 or 5 year course.
Right.
So
yeah. I mean, for example, like Nayan, like my brother, he's in law school at the moment as well. But for him, he did his undergrad at Queen's and stuff, and like that was chill, similar experience to like me or Julp or whatever. Yeah. But like now, I like because he's done his 1L or whatever, like first year of law school, and like I think same thing as you, like 100% of your grade is like those final exams and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, it's tough.
It's very tough.
But then again, he's done those 4 years of undergrad, and now he's doing that, right?
Yeah.
Versus for you did 1 year, for sure, but then like
it didn't even count.
It didn't really count.
I did it for fun of it.
Exactly. But now, like, you kind of just like walked in and boom, this is what you're doing immediately, like off the bat. Like I bet that's tough.
It was tough. So our first year grades didn't count. So it gave us like a good way of learning how they like kind of mark and the structure with assessments.
Oh, that's good.
So my second year is worth 40% of my degree, and my third year is worth 60% of my degree.
Right.
So I guess that thing of like these 2 years being the only 2 years that matter, and then obviously exams being 100%, it puts a lot of pressure. And something I've noticed is a lot of people don't really, like, it gives them the chance not to really pay attention in uni. And then right before exams, they cram because nothing else matters. There's no assessments in the middle. There's no like quizzes or anything like that. But I think it brings a lot more stress in that time.
100%, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm like stressing. My grades come out this week, but I'm just like, it's my full degree. Like, it's not even like I have, like right now, if I think about it, I'm at like 0 in all of them. And then like as soon as I get my grades, that's all it is.
That's
I don't
crazy.
have a chance to make them better or anything.
Yeah, like for me, exact opposite, right? Like, oh, first midterms happen, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm sitting in the class.
Yeah.
I need to lock in and do better if I want a better grade, right? Versus like, you're kind of just in the blind until like the very last moment.
You don't know if you're good or not. Like
now I see why you've been stressing every time you get an Outlook email.
Oh my god, it's like my worst nightmare. Like in my first years when I realized how bad it was, I remember it so vividly. It was corporate law.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm doing good. I got it. Like, I was like, I'm understanding. I'm sitting in my lectures and I'm like, yeah, okay. I got my formative grades back, which are like basically mock exams that some professors do.
Right.
They don't give you feedback. They just give you a grade. And it's right before your main exam.
Oh,
So you kind of know.
Yeah.
And I looked at my grade and I was like, absolutely not.
Oh.
I was like, no. And the thing is, you don't know what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, because there's no feedback.
Yeah. So I scheduled a call with my professor and he was just like, study harder.
Bro.
I was like, oh, thanks. And those results, like for that final, it was, I think, the most stressful part of my life because you have no idea how you're doing in the course.
That's scary.
It's just like, boom, this is what you got.
Yikes. Well, I'm glad you like found, you know, I mean, have you like, do you think you have like a proper like a solid like study plan, work ethic sort of thing?
I think so. I feel like a lot of my professors, they're the same from first year to second year. So I know what they're looking for. I know what they're expecting. And I think I've realized now, like, what law really is in terms of, like, how you have to structure your essays or how you have to do things. It's much different than any other way you would structure an essay because, obviously, you have to have arguments and, like, you have to have, like, rebuttals and defense arguments. So it's much harder, but I think going into my third year, I feel more confident.
Okay, I love that. Okay, kind of moving away from the stressful school stuff because I don't want to dwell on that too much because I know this is a tough week for you in terms of grades. Let's move on to, you know, more of the fun stuff. Mm-hmm. I know the UK gets a bad rep for like their like national food or whatever, like beans and toast and whatnot. But like, ignore the like I'm not talking like London food or like I'm not talking like British people food, but like how's the food in the UK?
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's insanely good. And honestly, that you brought up the beans thing. Have you seen the people on TikTok, Spud Bros?
I've heard, yes.
Okay, and they have potatoes, they put the beans and cheese and all that. So I was like dying to try it, and I've never had like the beans and that in my first year or anything. So close to the end of my second year, I dragged my friend. I was like, we have to try this.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, it was the most like scrumptiously delicious thing I've ever had. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So good. And I was like, now I get why these people eat beans. Like, it was so good.
Yeah.
But the food scene in London is amazing. There is amazing Indian restaurants. They're so good. There's amazing like Italian, Mexican, everything. Like it's just they have like such good food in them.
And it's a very diverse place too, right? Yeah,
very diverse.
So you get authentic food.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's awesome. What about your biggest food letdown? Like something you're really excited to try when you went to the UK and then you had it and you're like, I thought it would be the beans, so I'm really taken aback.
Yeah, no, the beans were so good.
Was there any other letdowns?
Okay, not necessarily like British food wise, but there's like this chain of restaurants in London called Dishoom. Mm-hmm. It's Indian food, and there's every single day.
Oh, I think there's in Toronto as well.
Dishoom?
Like it recently opened or something. Dishoom, yeah.
I'm not sure, but basically there's like a few locations in London, and I kid you not, there's a line outside like every single day. Yeah, and so everyone was like, Dishoom is so good, it's so good, it's like fusion Indian, and I was like, okay, you can't get reservations, like it's so hard. So we went, and honestly, it was
like mid.
It was not it for me. Like,
really?
Yeah, it was just like, okay, like.
I think fusion food is sometimes a hit or a miss also.
Yeah.
Like, the concept is cool.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it well, then.
Yeah, like, they did this, like, one jackfruit biryani thing.
Oh.
But the only thing you could taste is jackfruit. Like, I was, like, eating it, and I couldn't even taste the, like, rice. It was just jackfruit.
Oh.
And I was like, no, thank you. I'm, like, totally good.
Other
than that, I don't think any place has actually really been a letdown.
Okay, yeah. Well, now I'm excited to go to the UK and eat.
Yeah, food is too good.
Okay. What about, like, tell us about a funny or maybe even, like, a awkward moment that would, like, only happen in a new country? So maybe, like, when you first got there sort of thing. Do you have anything like that?
Awkward or funny? I don't really think so.
No.
I guess the times that I felt the most embarrassed is, like, going on, like, tubes and not knowing where the heck I'm going. And, like, everyone's walking one way and I'm so confidently walking the other way. I know where I'm going. And then, like, all of a sudden I'm like, no shit, dead end. And I have to turn around. I feel like
the turnaround is so embarrassing because even, like, this is embarrassing as someone who's been here all my life. Even when I go to downtown, I'm like, oh, I gotta go down the street. And then I'm like, oh, I have to hit the 360. I'm like, this, or 180. And I'm like, this is so embarrassing.
That turnaround for me is just like, I just want to stay here.
Like, you're like, everyone knows I'm not a local.
Yeah. No, it's so bad. It's so bad. And honestly, it's gotten better, but I feel like that's when I used to get, like, the most embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm, like, so confident. Like, no, I know where I'm going now.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, guys, I still don't know where I'm going. Do whatever you want. Like,
but you know what? you're allowed to do that, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, it's only been 2 years.
It's only been 2 years.
Only been 2 years, but that's funny. And, okay, now let's switch the mood a little bit.
Okay.
Get a little bit more scenty.
Okay.
Let's talk about homesickness, because I feel like that is something that you and that anyone who has, moved away from home experiences.
Yeah.
Have there, I mean, I feel like this is an obvious question, but have there been moments of homesickness, and like kind of talk about that, delve into that, and then what kind of helps you deal with that?
Honestly, I didn't really feel homesick at all my first year.
Really?
It's actually really shocking.
Yeah.
I think it took me that long to, I guess, like adapt that I didn't really feel it. Because even like right now, if you like ask my mom and my sister, they will be like, as much as I called them in second year, I probably called them like less than half of that in the first year.
Yeah.
Like I would call them once a day to check in and everything, but you would not see me on call with them for so long being like, I miss you and this and that. Like, I always had something to do or somewhere to be, and I wouldn't let myself get homesick, which was really weird. But second year is when like it hits me at least once a week.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because the weather in London is also so gloomy that even if I want to step out, it's just like, it feels like just like sadness.
I was going to say, it doesn't feel like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Sadness.
No, it does. It just feels like sadness. And I'm just like, okay. And obviously, like, everyone back home has a life as well. Like, I can't just be on call with them for
And
hours.
there is a time difference as well, right?
Yeah. So, like, if I can't sleep until, like, 5 a.m. and I call my mom, she's like, it's midnight, bro. What do you want? Like,
let me sleep.
So it's just things like that. And honestly, I feel them the most when, when there's something, like, really exciting, or if I tried, like, a really nice place or things like that. I'm just like, shit, I wish like the people I love could be here to try it.
Like, you want to share it with them, right? Yeah.
Or like when we go on like trips, like we went to Prague recently, and I kid you not, I was FaceTiming my mom, my grandma, my sister. I was like, see, look. And they're like, enjoy it, go. And I was like, no, but like, I wish you were here. And so sometimes it's more of that I wish you were here than that homesickness.
Yeah.
And I guess the best way I deal with it is, like I said, this little group, this family that we've made. Honestly, like, they're like the closest thing I have to family after my family and like my close friends here, because we have seen so many moods of each other because that's all you have there. Honestly, you have to rely on them. You don't really have a choice. So whenever one of us feels homesick, we just kind of go to the other one's room and we're like, hi, what's up? And I guess the best way is to distract yourself. There's no remedy to it. You'll always feel it until you come back home. Yeah,
there's no like easy fix. Like, you can't ever not feel homesick, right? Yeah.
But the weird thing is, when I come back, I miss London.
Yeah. That's like with anything, dude. Yeah.
It's what's that thing that people say? Like,
you want what you can't have.
No, you leave home to go to your other home kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like when I'm here, I miss my life in London, my friends there,
and then vice versa.
And when I'm there, I'm like, shit, I really wish I was home. So there's no winning. I should just live in the ocean, I guess. I'm point in the middle. Yeah.
Or just get a jet or something and fly back every day. Perfect. No, I get that. And like, I feel like it's hard because like, I'm glad that, it's good that you have a like, really strong support system over there. And I feel like that's like something that I think is really important. Like, having those people there that can distract you. Yeah. Because oftentimes like you can't really escape feelings. Yeah. Right?
It's best to deal with them, honestly. I learned the hard way.
Deal with them, or at least like, like take them in like moderation or whatever, and like to kind of help bring you back down to like a tolerable level. You need to distract yourself.
Yeah, because that thing of escaping, I feel like that's what I did in my first year. Like I think that's why I feel it a lot more in my second year. Because in my first year, if I felt like that feeling, I would either like, it sounds so like weird, but I would either just like go to sleep, or I would like do anything but think about the fact that I miss people back home, because I think I was also really like happy and grateful for having that chance of being in London, and I was like, I don't want to waste it by being like sad or grateful, all of this. But I realized it like when that wave of I miss people crashes down hard, like because you've avoided it for so long, it's bad. You'd rather just be like, okay, I feel this way, let me just do this and let me move on.
Yeah. And then obviously this whole journey of, it's very bold, first of all, but like moving to a whole new country to pursue school, it's definitely going to change you as a person, right?
Yeah.
So kind of in relation to that growth, in what ways do you feel like, this whole experience has changed you? And you're not done with this experience. You still have, like another year left. But like, so far, how do you feel like this experience has changed you, even if it might be just a little bit? Talk about like small, habits you might have picked up, or even like bigger things that you found out about yourself.
I think I don't think I was as independent like before I went. And obviously everyone, like whenever they go to uni, even if it's like an hour away, you get more independent.
Yeah.
But I think I really learned to be happy with myself, like just being alone.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized who I am as a person. I feel like when I was here, I had different personalities depending on what I was going through.
Right.
And I think one of the main reasons I went to London is kind of like a fresh start in terms of like, you know how people say that they wish they could run away and no one knows you or anything about you?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's exactly that. Like, you can be exactly who you are, and in that process, you can actually find out who you are.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things that I didn't know I liked doing, or a lot of things that I thought I liked but I didn't like. And I didn't realize that until I was away in a new country by myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely helped me grow as a person, and I think it's bettered my relationship with everyone in my life.
Yeah.
Because I feel I'm happier with where I am in life than I would have been if I was here, in terms of I would feel very stuck. I'm someone who needs to move.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's an environment that I thrive in. When I'm busy, when I'm away from people. And I think I took it to that thing of like wanting to be alone. I think I took it in a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
Listen, honestly,
you're not isolating.
Yeah.
You're growing by yourself, kind of.
Yeah.
Which is important, yeah.
I think I needed it, and I think it's something that a lot of people should do, even if you don't go and study for 3 years abroad, even if you just go and travel by yourself or something like that. It's very important, because I don't think you realize who you are or things about you until you actually see like life that's not in that bubble.
Yeah. Because like the whole thing, like, like, oh, I wish I could move away somewhere where no one knows me or whatever. Like, I think another good thing about that is because when you're stuck in like that bubble, like you said, oftentimes you don't even realize it, but I feel like other people's like perceptions or expectations of me, I kind of just stay in those, and that's what I am. But like when you like, even when I moved out and stuff, like when you do that sort of stuff, and then you, like you said, you kind of find yourself like, oh, this is what I really like, and like I thought I liked, I don't know, this, or like I thought I was into this, but I'm not really,
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I get that. Like, obviously to a smaller scale. My leap was not that, not many oceans involved, but
but still, I feel like it's really good. Like, one of the like biggest things, like, when you've had a good day, you're still coming home to just you.
Exactly.
If you had a bad day, you're coming home to you. Like, you have to learn how to handle those things by yourself in a healthy manner. And I don't think you can do that, especially given like Indian households. Like, you're always surrounded by family, which is a really good thing.
Which is great, but it can also
be like a bunch of eyes watching over you.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like for me personally, like I didn't feel that I accepted good or bad things that are happening in my life to such an extent.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have the time to do it or the space to do it by myself. So when I was away, like when I'm in London, like if something good or bad happens, obviously I'll like talk to the people back home, but you kind of have that time with just you to reflect. It's like a life that only you're living by yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people have that as they get older and get jobs, but having it from like 18, I feel like really helped I feel like it also helped me kind of figure out what I want to do, where I want to do it, without the pressure of needing to be close to family or doing something that everyone would like, or doing something that, people want me to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I really realized that, okay, no, this is what I want to do. I don't want to live in Canada. I don't want to work in Canada.
Yeah.
Which was something that I was really iffy about before I went to London.
Yeah.
Because I just needed that one push to like be like, okay, no, can't do it.
Yeah.
And I think living in London is what it was.
Yeah. And like, I think what you said was really important. Like, what, regardless of whatever's happening in your life, like at the end of the day, you go back home to just yourself, right? Yes, you could have like a partner, for example, or you could have like friends or like roommates or whatever, but like at the end of the day, it's really just you and yourself.
Yeah.
And even I like kind of thinking, like reflecting back on like my education and experience or whatever, like up until recently, like I didn't like being just by myself, right?
Yeah.
But like when you kind of like, not like force yourself to be independent, but like when you are in an environment that where like independence equals like not like surviving, but like that's how you progress. It really does make you like, again, find out more about yourself.
Yeah.
But it makes you like enjoy like yourself, right? Like I don't need to like, obviously I love hanging out with my roommates and this and that and stuff, but like being by myself is also like, now it's fulfilling. And like, I crave that sometimes also, which I love.
Yeah.
Like before I would say like, oh, I don't, like, you know, I used to, because like I would say I'm a fairly extroverted person.
You are. You are.
Fairly. Yeah. But like, I'd have like friends when we were younger be like, you know, like, oh, like I love just like some me time or something.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, I hate me time. Like,
Yeah.
Also, you know this, I'm a little bit avoidant with like my
Feelings. Oh my God, tell me about it.
Feelings and thoughts. So I'm like, the last thing I want in the world is to be left alone with my feelings and thoughts. But now I'm slowly, it's still a little bit of a...
But honestly, any progress is progress.
Exactly. It's a little bit of a tumultuous journey, but I'm getting there. And I like it a bit more now.
But it's good.
It's good, yeah. 100%. All right, let's, again, switch. I'm getting you, like, through the motions, all these happy, sad, senti. Now we're going to go back to a little bit of fun.
Okay.
I'm going to channel my Karan Johar. But I want to ask some rapid-fire questions.
Okay.
I literally only have 5, but...
Coffee with Buddy.
Coffee with Buddy, please. We have our coffee, actually, beside us.
Buddy.
Our hormone-free milk. Okay, anyways. Tim Hortons or Pret?
Anything with hormone-free milk.
Anything with hormone-free milk. Bye.
Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons? Really?
Yeah. I hate Pret.
Yeah. Well, like, what is it? It's just like a UK Pret or Tim?
It's like a UK Tim. You know one really cool thing Pret has?
What?
Basically, I know it's not rapid,
mm-hmm.
but basically it's like this like membership, and it's like, I don't know, it's like £30 a month or something.
Yeah.
And you get like 5 coffees a day.
What?
Yeah, but their coffee's like
not good.
They're not good.
Okay. So 5 coffees, but I
tried the membership once, and I ended up drinking like 1 coffee every 2 days, and I was like, I'd rather not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rainy days or snowy days?
I think snowy.
Snow.
Honestly, I like sunny days, but I would take snowy because the rain in London is
actually, like you said, it's sad.
It's disgusting.
You're crying, the sky's crying.
It's just disgusting. Yeah.
Valid. Okay. What's an accent you've tried to imitate?
I would say the British.
The British accent? Yeah. Do you do it for fun while you're there?
Yeah.
Do you ever try to like go to a place and pretend you are?
No, I never have, but I definitely should. But honestly, it comes out when I'm talking with friends.
Okay. Yeah.
And like yesterday, like you were walking and I started talking and you started talking. I was like, what's going on? Like, yeah.
Okay. What is the most overrated British thing? Like something you're like, these Brits do that you're like,
Tea.
Tea?
I hate tea.
You hate tea?
And their whole thing of like, bro, I can't. The whole thing of tea is just like tea time and this and that. No.
Coffee's better.
Yeah.
I agree.
I can't do it, yeah.
All right. Lastly, what is a Canadian thing you miss the most? Not like family and friends and stuff.
Ice cap.
Ice cap.
I miss my ice caps, and there's like this one Tim Hortons in London, and it's like 2 hours away from me, and it probably wouldn't even hit the same, so I've never went. But ice cap, and I think another Canadian thing I really miss is I wouldn't say it's not like a certain thing. I guess it's just that thing of like you can go wherever you want with like, cause obviously I have my mom here and she can drive me and I can go places. Yeah. But in like London, I'm like stuck.
You gotta figure out like how to navigate and get there and stuff.
So I guess it's that. But no, ice caps. I really miss ice caps when I'm there.
Okay.
And beaver tails.
Beaver tails on fire.
And poutine. And you know, it's so weird. Like, I never thought I would be someone who, like, loves, like, Canadian food.
Yeah.
But when I'm in London, I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss that, bro.
Real.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, that kind of concludes our conversation today. Thank you so much for sharing your journey.
It was really fun. Thank you.
Yeah. And, you know, it's been so fun to hear about all the real, funny, and surprising bits of your study abroad life. And for anyone who's, you know, listening, who's thinking of studying abroad or just even shaking things up, maybe like you said, traveling.
Yeah.
I hope this convo gave you a little bit of inspiration and a lot of laughs. And to all our fellow listeners out there, don't forget, even the most ordinary days can turn into the most unforgettable stories. We'll see you in the next one.